And we know how our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would spend this month of Ramadan. He would spend it getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we think of Ramadan, we think of fasting and qiyam and siyam. And we think of Al-Quran. And we know that no doubt these things are very important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن, that the month of Ramadan is when the Quran was revealed. And we know that شهر Ramadan is شهر القرآن, that the month of Ramadan is the month of the Quran. And we know it is for us to fast. But my dear brothers and elders, I want you to ponder upon this verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, in Surah Fatir, that إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً يَرْجُونَ تِجَارَةً لَنْ تَبُورَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about a transaction that we can make with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. He tells us that those who listen, يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ, who recite the Quran, the Kitab of Allah, وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ, and they pray the Salah, وَأَنْفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those who spend from the rizq that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to them, from the provision that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to them, sirran wa alaniya, in secret. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says also wa alaniya, in congregation, in front of people, because there is a hikmah of this as well. When we donate with our brothers and in front of our brothers, then we encourage one another. And by this, when we donate, the person next to us, if we encourage them to donate, then it is a reward that we will get from them as well. Sirran wa alaniyatan yarjuna tijaratan lan tabur, that they can expect a great profit from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know that rizq that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, that it is the money that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives to us, and He can take it at any moment. Think about it, of how many people that we know, that they have so much wealth one day, and then another day they have nothing. This wealth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, this money, this house, this car, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take it away at any moment. And we know that when we give sadaqah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that our sadaqah and our wealth will not decrease. Rather, we will see more barakah in this dunya, and we will be rewarded extremely in the hereafter as well. And we know that this night of Laylatul Qadr, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr, that this month, this night of Laylatul Qadr is better than 1,000 months. And whatever actions that we do on this night, it will be better than doing it for 1,000 nights. So that's why Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam teaches us to seek for Laylatul Qadr. And we know that in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would increase his ibadah. Usually he would spend the nights of Ramadan praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he would also sleep a portion of the night. But in the last 10 nights, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he would stay awake the whole night, and he would call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he called his family as well. So my dear brothers and elders, this is an opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us to attain His rahmah and His mercy. And Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us to look at it, to look and to seek for Laylatul Qadr in the last 10 nights, particularly in the odd nights. And then we know that some narrations say that the 27 nights perhaps has more significance. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, he says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has created 7 skies and 7 heavens, and He had created, when we go to do tawaf, we do it how many times? 7 times. When we go from when we do sa'i from Safa to Marwa, we do it 7 times. When we count the Jamarat in the Hajj, we do it 7 times. So we see a common theme that that 7 has an importance of Islam. So Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma says that when you seek for Laylatul Qadr, seek for it especially on the 7th night. So this is the night that we are on, and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decrees for it to be tonight, to be Laylatul Qadr, then whatever good deeds that we do, it will be multiplied. And it will be better than doing it for 1,000 months. And another hadith that I want to end on, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us that man bana lillahi masjidan, bana Allahu lahu baytan fil jannah. That whoever builds a masjid for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it is the size it is the amount for 4 people to pray, or even less. But whoever builds a place of sajda for someone, بَنَى اللَّهُ لَهُ بَيْتًا فِي الْجَنَّةِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will build for him a house in Jannah. And that is what our risk is for. That is what our wealth is for. Our wealth, it is for us to spend it in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we cannot go out there and do physical work like the brothers are doing here, carrying water bottles, opening, coming early, setting up, after Salatul Taraweeh, they spend a lot of time packing away. If we cannot all do this physically, then we should spend from the rizq that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, and from the provision that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, so that those who are going out there putting the work in the forefront, that they can increase and they can, all these things have a cost, so that they can carry on doing the good work that they were doing. So my dear brothers and elders, I ask you, donate generously from the rizq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I promise you that you will see a blessing in your wealth.